Let's go out to the West Coast where Kara Swisher, of all things digital, is standing by. Kara, another great scoop from you. Well done.
Thank you.
And congratulations again. Who is Rakuten and why did Pinterest choose them?
Well, it's Rakuten, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. For the show. That's all right. You're not Japanese. It's a huge e-commerce giant. If you imagine sort of eBay with Amazon Web Services, a little Etsy thrown in, it's the biggest e-commerce site in Japan. Pinterest, the guy who runs Pinterest is a very quirky, unusual man, and he actually rejected a lot of the VC interest. He was not very pleased with it, and he didn't like any of the VCs he met, and he really wanted a strategic investor on a global scale, and this is who he settled on.
That's who he settled on. So what advantages does this company that I obviously can't pronounce, what does it give to Pinterest, do you think?
I think it gives it, it's a huge global retailer, and Rakuten has been trying to get into the U.S. in a number of ways. It bought Buy.com. It has a bunch of other assets. And it's had not as much success as it often happens in the case. Alibaba's been trying to get here from China, all these other, e-commerce players, and it's difficult. And so investment is an interesting way to do it. And then they get special access to Pinterest, which has been explosive for e-commerce sites in terms of referrals and traffic and everything else. And they were noticing the massive amount of Pinterest, referrals to their sites. And so I think it's probably they can help them with mobile stuff. Rakuten can help Pinterest. Monetizing Pinterest would be a good idea at some point, given this $1.5 billion valuation. And they're good at monetizing. They made I think $4.7 billion in revenues last year, so they know about that. And so there's a lot of, a strategic investor is often the best investor for some companies. And interestingly enough, many years ago, Yahoo did an investment with SoftBank, another large Japanese internet player, and was a very good thing for them for many, many years. It was one of their first and earliest investors. And so it's an interesting idea to do that versus all these VCs who were dying to get into this deal.
Yeah, and VCs have a certain way of doing things, don't they? So they've just taken in $100 million, or that's the nominal amount. It could get even bigger, couldn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's other investors. Everybody wanted to get in this deal. Right now, they'll probably all say, oh, it's too high, I didn't want to get in. But every one of them was, some of the existing investors like Andreessen Horowitz and Bessemer Partners, this guy, Ben Silverman, doesn't really want to talk to these VCs, which I think is probably his best calling card as far as I'm concerned. But they were getting calls like, how can we get to him? What can we do? Can we do this for you? Suddenly, a lot of these VCs that were in Pinterest became the best friends of other VCs. So, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in Silicon Valley, because it's a little bit of a rejection of venture capital people for more strategic investors, which I think is a smart move on Pinterest's case. And they got this massive valuation anyway from an interested party who has also its own financial interests in helping Pinterest.
So let's back up a bit and talk about this monetization thing, because one of the things that I keep looking at is I see companies with no revenues or limited revenues in some cases getting enormous valuations. I mean, it would seem to me that if the money doesn't come soon for some of these companies, then the bubble's got to pop.
Absolutely. It's irritating, isn't it? Isn't it, Simon? It's not you or me getting these valuations, but
you might get it, but the point is that I'm sure you would have revenue associated with any company that you're involved with, and this is an example of where it's not being monetized.
Well, yeah, my kids think I'm worth $1 billion, I think, but I think what the issue is in Pinterest's case, it's actually a very real phenomena. It is pushing traffic all over the web, and people are noticing, especially publishers. Retailers. And so there's something here in terms of leads. And leads is what Google does in many ways. Search is about leads and getting places. And so it's a very powerful idea. It's just a question of where they get there. A lot of those swirl around Facebook right now is it really helpful to advertisers? Can they really build an advertising business? Which is the $100 billion question tomorrow, when it goes public. And so the question is, who can do this best? Who can be sort of the next Google in terms of getting leads to people who pay the bills, the advertisers and the marketers? Pinterest certainly, Instagram is a big question. Do they have any revenue stream? Who knows? But this company does have potential to do that because it is such a good leads business. And, anytime there's a leads business, I find that interesting. But the question is, can they monetize the leads business that they're in?